So in this video, we're going to be covering the full moon coming up on November 18th. Now, right here, I have the universal time chart on this app called Time Nomad. But basically, right here is the world's chart right now. And right now, the ascendant is actually in Aries. And the world chart, how I get it is I just put 0 degrees north, 0 degrees east, get the center of the earth, and it shows me, where all the planets are at, which constellations are rising, which houses, all that stuff, just like a normal chart. And, you can speed through the dates and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be looking at this full moon that's coming up on November 19th for people that are in Europe, and it's going to be on the 18th for those of us on the Western hemisphere, or not hemisphere, but the Western side of the globe. So anyways, it's happening at 2:58 a.m. Universal Time, which would be, I believe that's 10 p.m., 10:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I could be off by just like 1 hour or so, but this is the chart at that time, and this is a lunar eclipse. So what's a lunar eclipse? That's when the earth is in between the sun and the moon. So what do lunar eclipses symbolize? Lunar eclipses are very strong full moons where the events of earth are in alignment to the themes of the moon. So usually on a full moon, it shows culmination energy, or like a combination of events, or a lot of times it can reveal people's emotions about a certain aspect of life. So say for instance, we had a full moon in Scorpio, that could reveal people's true emotions, or like it can reveal people's deep manipulative tendencies. So those full moons are usually very exciting. I like Scorpio full moons because there's a lot of conspiracies that get exposed. A lot of bad behavior gets put to an end, especially in relationships. And anyways, that's just an example, but the reason why is because the moon is being illuminated, and the moon rules emotions, and it rules secrets. It can rule things that are internal, but it rules things that matter as well, things that are important to us. So with that being said, this lunar eclipse, or this full moon, is happening in Taurus. And usually how a full moon works is that the moon is illuminated, and it's shining its light on the earth, right? And that's the influence of the full moon. And so a lot of events culminate around full moons. Like that's why bad things can happen on full moons, or even good things can happen, but like major events can happen. But it's even more powerful on lunar eclipses because it's not just the moon being illuminated somewhere to the side. It's actually the earth being in alignment to the moon as well. So symbolically, what it represents is that the events on earth tend to be in direct alignment to the themes of the full moon. That's why it's more strong. And the moon usually appears on one of the nodes. That's when a full moon happens. So that's like the elliptical. The north and south node, they're specific points that eclipses happen, and they represent the past and the future, and they represent destiny, and they represent progress. So there are important, significant factors that tell us our future, and also that bring back events from the past that need to be tied up. In this case, the moon is conjunct the north node, which is about the future, and we're in the sign of Taurus. So this eclipse is about things that matter to people, and what matters to people at this time is opportunities for wealth. And people want to see new forms of value. Like people are just thinking a lot about money these days. Like you probably have been thinking more about money lately. And the moon is actually conjunct to the north node. Now, let me get rid of all these aspects because it's kind of confusing to look at, but we're going to bring them back in a second. But we can see this yellow line between the sun, tying the sun and the moon. So, this is about oppositions, right? And The moon is in the sign of wealth and value. And the North Node, as you can tell, is about to enter Taurus in January of 2022. And it's on that cusp of Gemini and Taurus. And what this cusp is about, it's about opportunities for wealth. You know, Gemini is about opportunities. Taurus is about wealth and values. So that cusp between the two is kind of like opportunities for wealth. Now, during this time, you know, the moon is actually going to be rising in the 5th house, and the 5th house is about creation. So a lot of people are going to be creating new wealth for themselves. And how so? The 11th house, technologies, digital currencies, things such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, all that stuff has been going crazy. You probably heard of the Facebook metaverse and all this stuff. Like, people are looking towards technology, innovation, and towards the future. So a lot of people that have been doing those things in the past specifically, or even in the current tense, but as long as they have been, people that have been participating in innovative things, they're going to be creating a lot of wealth for themselves, and there's going to be a culmination of this energy, and the events of this earth are going to be in alignment to that. Meaning this is gonna be a stronger manifestation. We're gonna see this full moon more literally, and it's gonna propel us into our future. Now, what's really interesting is that we have the ruler of the moon, which is Venus, is in Capricorn, and it's conjunct the ascendant. So again, like, people are just gonna be thinking about wealth, and what's gonna make people relate during this time is status and success or position. So Venus shows, you know, romance, it shows love, and it shows materials, value. And it's in the sign of Capricorn, which is about having success and having an image and being an example of those things. So during this time, when it comes to love, your status is going to play a more important role, and it's going to make you more relatable, and it's also going to make you more attractive. It's just going to matter more, like what it is that you have to show in terms of your success. And like, people are just obsessed with that stuff during this time. And more importantly, people are obsessed with showing the fruits of their labor. So maybe you guys have been running into friends or family that just keep talking about these financial opportunities that they're running into. You know, I ran into a friend that's, you know, talking about his job and like new career opportunities all the time these days, and like how he's trying to find a new job and whatnot. So that's just a small example for myself that I noticed. But like, this full moon is showing, or sorry, this eclipse is showing us that people are going to be obsessed with the North Node. Like, people want to show people their opportunities, and people want to show each other how they've been creating money. And especially people that have been like using digital currencies and like cryptos during this bull run, because we're in a bull run when it comes to these cryptos. And I make videos from time to time about different cryptos, but using astrology and what the astrology of them is. But during this time, like, people would not stop talking about that stuff. And especially if this bull run like continues. And if so, people are gonna make enormous amounts of wealth. And of course, you know, we have Jupiter being in the 2nd house. Jupiter is about expansion, and it's in the sign of Aquarius, technology, wealth. Now look what else is in the sign of Taurus. And I know I'm jumping around, but Taurus is the sign of wealth, right? The 2nd house is the house associated with Taurus. It's the house of wealth. But we have the planet Uranus, which is about futurism, technology, digital things. So like, digital currencies, ever since Uranus has been in Taurus, have been enormously lucrative. And, you know, that's something I'm seeing heavily in the charts. And of course, you know, Saturn is in Aquarius as well, which is about technology, and it's conjunct the 2nd house cusp. So people will be talking about the future of wealth, the future of money, and people will be just in general talking about their own personal futures. Like, they'll be talking about, okay, what's the next jobs that they're looking at, and people will be looking to create new wealth in various ways, not just technology. People just want to get new jobs during this time, want to get new forms of sustenance, which is what the sign of Taurus is about. And so ultimately, this eclipse is leading us into this north node that's going to enter Taurus pretty soon. So we're going to get a glimpse of how this north node is going to play out, or what it's going to be really about. Like, people are just going to care about what matters and what you can show them tangibly in life, especially things that are innovative, as indicated by Uranus, and things that give you independence or self-sufficiency. So it's very interesting. And I'm really liking this Venus right here conjunct the ascendant. Venus shows what makes us relatable in our charts, or what people find attractive. So when Venus is in different signs, people relate in different ways. Right now, people are relating in terms of success, status, and public image. Like, people just want to show off, how successful they are. And there can be a little bit of ego when it comes to those things as well. But Capricorn is the sign of big wealth, because it's the ninth from Taurus. It's the ninth sign from Taurus. And the ninth is about expansion, excess, blessings. So Capricorn is the sign of big wealth. And where do we have Venus? We have Venus in the sign of big wealth. And it will be remaining in the sign for a crazy, whopping 4 months, because it's going to go retrograde. Venus only stayed in Sagittarius for, I believe, less than a month. And it usually stays in signs for less than a month. But it will be in Capricorn, the sign of big wealth, for 4 months. So during this time, it's important to value your status. And in fact, you've probably just been valuing that. You've been valuing your position, your career. You've been thinking about that stuff way too much lately, haven't you? So anyways, that's just because of Venus being in Capricorn. Or at least Venus is indicating that tendency. Now, what's important is we have the part of fortune. The part of fortune shows how things manifest easily in life. Because how you get the part of fortune is it's the distance in degrees between the sun and the moon. The sun is the masculine, the moon is the feminine, and together you are able to create things, right? They're the most important bodies in our charts, right? And the new moons, when the moon and the sun are together, and you have the moon right next to the sun, these are opportunities to manifest new things, right? And also to create new things. And that's because the masculine and feminine bodies here, and the two main important bodies in our chart, are together when they're in a new moon, right? And so anyways, the part of fortune, all it is the distance in degrees between both of these luminaries. And when you add it to the ascendant, and whatever house it falls in, or whatever sign it's going to fall in, shows, how you can manifest things easily. And generally speaking in life, it will show things that come with ease. Like, you easily create wealth in that place, or you easily create success. So it's a manifestation point. That's really what it's about. And right now, it's going to be conjunct the 7th house cusp. And that happens on full moons, because the moon and the sun are exactly 180 degrees apart in the chart. So it's always going to fall on the descendant. And that's why you got to be careful on full moons, and they say don't take risks on full moons and all this stuff. It's not that you can't, because I think it can be positive too. Like, you can get a positive outcome. But generally speaking, on full moons, the opposition is indicating that our fortune comes from the actions of others during this time. Or rather, it comes from the reaction that we get. That's how things are going to manifest more easily. Whereas on a new moon, the part of fortune is conjunct the ascendant. That means our fortune is completely in our hands. That's why it's important to set intentions and take actions on new moons. And you can start new things, and you have everything in your control. But on full moons, things can be very eventful, or like people can have outbursts, or like things outside of your control. Like, things can react unexpectedly. And anyways, in this case, it's in the sign of Cancer, which is about emotions. So, and specifically, I guess it's in the 7th house. So this is about the emotions of others. That is how things are going to manifest more easily, is if you can influence the emotions of others. And the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon. So This is a powerful new moon in that sense, because the part of fortune is in the sign of the moon. And where's the moon? It's conjunct the North Node in Taurus/Gemini, on that cusp right there. So this is about opportunities for wealth. And how can you influence others? By creating new wealth for yourself and by demonstrating to others your value, your worth, or also just by creating wealth for other people. But more importantly, people being able to see your success, like that's going to influence others during this time. As shallow as that sounds, or as like weird as that sounds, that's literally what I'm getting. But for the most part, people are really going to be in their egos during this time, especially when it comes to wealth. Like, and that may suck or that may be good, depending on, who you're dealing with and what side of the situation you find yourself on. But everybody has opportunities during this time. So let's bring up the aspects, because, aspects tell us a little bit more. And in this case, Saturn is trine to the North Node, right? Let me screenshot so I can draw. It's trine to the North Node, and the North Node is conjunct to the moon. Saturn rules the emotions of others because it opposes Cancer. Cancer is about our own emotions. The opposite is Capricorn, and oppositions are about relating to others, and it's about others. So Capricorn, which rules responsibilities, work, reputation, all it is it's the emotions of others. It's how other people feel about us, or how other people feel about things, or it's the agreement that we have with others about what matters. That's what reality, or what is realistic, is. Capricorn is about things that are realistic. It's about rules, laws, and things that we have to follow because everybody agreed upon certain truths, It's the illusion of reality. But it's also a very powerful force that you must follow. It's the matrix to a certain extent. Because if everybody agrees to certain rules, we can trap ourselves. And that's what this matrix is. So if people actually lightened the rules and became more Aquarian, this is where we will experience more freedom. And that's what the age of Aquarius is about. But a lot of people are trapped in a mental box, which is being controlled by powerful forces. That's what this matrix is about. But that's a side note. And during this time, we're going through a transformational period where society seems to be locking down on itself. No pun intended. But all of this is going to lead us into like a further age. So anyways, with that being said, I went on a tangent, but the planet Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn, and it's about the emotions of others. It's about reality and whatnot. And it's in a trine to the North Node. And trines show how things are more easily expressed and how things are perceived more strongly. So when you have a trine, this is a lucky aspect where people are able to see your strengths more easily. They're able to see what you mean. They're able to see what you do. So during this time, how you're going to see the emotions of others is through innovation, and also through opportunities, and specifically people's egos during this time. People will want to express their opportunities, or people want to create wealth. So that's stuff that's going to be mattering during this time. And this is what truly matters to others in a general sense. This is very innovative times that we're living in. And it's like everything is tying back down to this Uranus. Like, look at this. Saturn and Jupiter are in Aquarius, the sign of Uranus. All these planets that are in Capricorn, they all tie back down to Saturn because Saturn is their ruler right now. Saturn is in Aquarius, and all that leads back to Uranus. Now, what else? We have the sun being in the 11th house. The 11th house is ruled by Uranus. So everything is coming back to Taurus, which is about money, finances, matters, values. And what's being valued is innovation, digital things, currencies. So, anyways, we're going to wrap this video up here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it wasn't too scattered. And that's our horoscope for this upcoming full moon. With that being said, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting this channel in any way that you do. whether that's liking, subscribing, or even my Patreon as well. And I do a free natal chart reading for every one of my subscribers that signs up to Patreon. And I just post videos on there from time to time and other content. Sometimes it's just posts and updates about transits as well. So definitely check that out if that interests you. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you guys sometime soon in another video. Peace.